Okay, does it ever feel like everything is just changing way faster than ever before? I mean, just keeping up with technology, let alone trying to understand it, sometimes feels like trying to drink from a fire hose.
Oh, absolutely. You are definitely not alone in feeling that. And, based on this really incredible stack of source material we've been digging into for you, it's packed with recent data, insights, some really deep trends analysis from Mary Meeker's work, too. The answer seems to be a clear yes. Change is speeding up, like at an unprecedented rate. And honestly, nowhere is that more obvious right now than with artificial intelligence.
That's exactly it. That's what we want to unpack today. We've got all these fascinating data points, these observations right here. And, well, our mission is to cut through the noise. Pull out the really important insights and give you a clearer picture of the AI landscape right now. We're talking the underlying tech, its real-world impact, and just how breathtakingly fast it's all moving. The goal is really to get you informed quickly, understand the drivers, the implications, without drowning in all the data. Okay, let's dive in.
Let's do it. So, starting with the absolute bedrock, right? The infrastructure behind this whole AI surge. The sources paint a picture of growth in computing cycles that's genuinely hard to wrap your head around. If you look at the charts, comparing the sheer number of computing units projected for this AI era to like the mainframe era or the PC era, it's not just more, it's exponentially dramatically more. We're talking billions of units, orders of magnitude beyond what we've seen before.
And that kind of scale, well, it needs staggering levels of investment, right? The data clearly points to massive capital expenditure growth, huge capex. And if you look where that money's going, I mean, one name just jumps out in the sources as the key tech capex spend beneficiary. NVIDIA. The analysis shows their data center revenue is already grabbing a huge and growing slice, like 25%, and climbing of global data center capex. Think about that. A quarter of the world's data center spend.
Through one company.
That really tells you something about their role.
It really does. It underscores who's providing the essential picks and shovels for this new gold rush, essentially. And it's not just the capital investment either. Tech companies are also seriously ramping up their R&D. The big six U.S. public tech companies, for example, they've pushed R&D spending up to 13% of revenue. That's quite a leap from just 9% a decade ago. Shows how critical building the next thing is alongside building out the current stuff.
Yeah, and here's a detail from the sources that really, hammers home the speed this foundation is being built at. There's this example of a 750,000 square foot AI data center built in just 122 days.
Wow.
The analysis calls it superhuman, right?
Right.
Points out it's faster than building a typical house. And apparently this isn't even that unusual anymore. These super fast timelines are becoming more common. Things like prefabricated modules, streamlined construction. They're building the physical world for AI incredibly fast, too.
It's an incredible rate of expansion, absolutely. But as you'd expect, powering all this infrastructure, well, it takes a lot of energy. Global data center electricity consumption has surged. We're talking more than tripled over the last 19 years or so, 2005 to 2024. And the breakdown shows, servers and cooling are the main culprits. Geographically, the USA is currently leading the pack in data center electricity use.
Okay, so we see this massive investment, the chips, the data centers, the power. That's the engine. But what about the AI technology itself, the capabilities, and who's actually building with it?
Right. So the sources give us some useful history mentioning the AI milestone timeline. They talk about the AI winter, that period where the ideas were there, but practical success was, well, limited. And there's this clear shift noted from what they call the academia era, roughly 2003 to 2014, into the industry era, starting around 2015 and, well, continuing now. That's really when things started translating into real applications much faster.
And you can totally see that shift reflected in the AI developer community growth. It's just exploding. The data for that leading chipmaker we mentioned, their developer ecosystem, grown sixfold. Reaching 6 million developers in just 7 years, 2018 to 2025. And if you look at where developers are actually working, sharing code like GitHub AI developer repositories are up something like 175% in just 16 months. Late 22 to early 24. It's a huge surge.
It is. And all that activity, powered by the new infrastructure, it's leading to really dramatic improvements in how AI performs. There was one statistic in the sources that really grabbed me about the realism. A Turing test conversation with GPT 4.5 back in March 2025. Get this. 87% of the testers wrongly identified the AI's response as human.
87%. Wow.
Yeah. And one tester commented that the AI had human vibes. That just perfectly shows how blurry the lines are getting,
And it's not just text, right? The sources show examples of AI image generation, how quickly the quality has jumped, like an AI-generated necklace image.
Mm.
In Midjourney Model V1 early 2022, it looked pretty fake. By Model V7, April 2025, almost indistinguishable from a real photo. Same with AI faces compared to real ones. The realism is just accelerating.
And this progress is leading towards what's called multimodal AI, which basically means models that can handle different kinds of data together: text, images, audio, even video sometimes. The analysis points to models like GPT-4o, Claude 3, Chameleon becoming fully multimodal. The big deal here is the practical stuff it unlocks. Think about, like, diagnosing a machine fault just by pointing your phone camera at it. The AI understands the image, maybe the sound too. Or summarizing medical notes that have an X-ray image attached. It moves AI beyond just one type of task.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting for me. How is all this capability, this performance gain, actually showing up in businesses, in industries? Is it still mostly talk, or are companies really adopting this stuff?
The data suggests it's definitely moving beyond the hype into real adoption, even in what you'd call traditional enterprises. There's a chart tracking mentions of AI during S&P 500 earnings calls. It shows a steady climb, hitting 50% of firms by Q4 2024 and still rising. So leaders are talking about it a lot. And that's usually a sign of action.
And the survey cited dig into what kind of action, right? It's not just about cutting costs.
Exactly. That's the key finding from global enterprise surveys. The main focus for these AI and LLM projects is primarily growth and revenue. Companies are seeing it as a tool for expansion, finding new opportunities, not just efficiency plays.
Okay, so give us some examples.
Right. So across sectors, finance, Bank of America's AI digital assistant serves over 40 million clients. JP Morgan Chase, they've been on a big AI modernization push since 2020. They detail specific uses, like getting rid of tedious no-joy work, boosting productivity, increasing revenue, making decisions faster. And they're projecting serious value from AML forecasting, over a 65% increase by 2025.
Okay, what about healthcare? This seems like a huge area.
Huge. The number of AI-enabled medical devices approved by the FDA in the U.S. jumped significantly, reaching 223 by 2023. And it's interesting, a big chunk of the U.S. government's federal AI budget, which is about $14.7 billion from FY21 to FY25, is going to R&D. Like 34% in FY25 is heading to the National Institutes of Health. So big government focus there, too.
So where's the impact? Research? Practice?
Both, really. The sources highlight potential for big reductions, like 30 to 80% in medical R&D timelines, companies like In Silico Medicine, Cradle using AI. And then on the clinical side, there's the Abridge example. A majority of Kaiser doctors are using AI to summarize patient visits. Over 10 million summaries done already.
10 million summaries?
Yeah.
Wow, that must free up some time.
You'd think so, yeah. Potentially improves documentation, too.
Even the legal sector, that's often seen as slower on the uptake for tech.
Right. But it's highlighted, too. Specialized AI like Harvey, explosive growth. $10 million to $70 million AR in just 15 months, adding tons of customers. The analysis specifically notes lawyers are adopting tech way faster than they usually do. And a really key trend across the board, the accelerating deployment of AI agents. These are AI systems designed to, like, act on their own to achieve goals. You see product launches from the big players, OpenAI's Operator, Salesforce's Agentforce, Anthropic's Claude 3.5 computer use, Amazon's Nova Act. It signals this is getting real, and public interest reflects that. Global Google searches for AI agent up over 1,000% from Jan 24 to May 25. People are looking for tools that do things.
Yeah, this idea of AI as a tool for acceleration, for action, is clearly top of mind for tech leaders. The sources have some telling quotes. Roblox CEO David Baszucki calls AI a human acceleration tool, saying people plus AI equals more output. And NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, he says AI will be in everything. It's part of infrastructure, and he calls data centers AI factories.
AI factories, I like that.
Yeah, not just storing data, but producing intelligence.
And you see these views playing out in the big tech company strategies. Microsoft's Copilot Assistant. Billions of chats held already, integrated everywhere. Meta Platforms is pushing hard with Meta AI. Their CEO expects a super smart, personalized AI assistant to reach over 1 billion people in 2025, led by Meta AI. He also predicts an AI engineering agent with mid-level coding skills emerging this year, and suggests whoever gets there first gets a major competitive advantage.
1 billion people. That's some scale. But the sources also talk about the competition, right? It's not just these giants.
Not entirely no. The rise of open models is a big factor highlighted in the analysis. Developers are increasingly drawn to high-performance open models that are also cheaper, so that adds a different dynamic to the competition.
And it's global competition, too.
Absolutely. The sources point to China, highlighting a new model called Qwen 2.5 Max. It's noted for being multimodal, very cost-effective, like a fraction of the cost of GPT 4.5, but still performing really well, matching or even beating some top models in certain tests. Shows innovation is happening fast everywhere.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Beyond the purely digital stuff, AI is increasingly hitting the physical world, too, isn't it? Robots, resource exploration.
Yeah, absolutely. Robotics is a clear example. The data on industrial robots. China now has more installed than the rest of the world combined. 276,000 versus 265,000 in 2023. That scale of automation is significant.
And the sources talk about AI turning capital assets into, what was it, increasingly autonomous software loops.
Exactly.
Autonomous vehicles seem like the poster child for that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Companies like Applied Intuition are building these complex simulation platforms for training. Uber CEO expects autonomous drivers will eventually be better than humans, maybe in 15, 20 years, just because they can learn from so much more data, more simulations.
And Tesla. Musk talking about replacing code with neural nets.
Right. Replacing traditional C++ code for things like path planning with neural nets suggests they're really optimizing for AI inference efficiency, maybe out of necessity. And they've got those ambitious plans for their Dojo supercomputer, too.
Then there's defense. Companies like Endural using AI in drones, counter-intrusion systems.
Yeah, the stated goal mentioned in the analysis is about enabling more proportional and precise warfare by using AI right at the point of action.
It's even showing up in places like agriculture, which surprised me a bit.
Yeah, carbon robotics using AI and computer vision for laser weeding.
Laser weeding.
Literally zapping weeds with lasers guided by AI. The sources say they've weeded over 230,000 acres, avoided over 100,000 gallons of glyphosate.
Wow.
And even mineral exploration. Cobalt metals using AI and machine learning for prospecting. Apparently they're finding deposits faster or at least at a higher rate per dollar spent exploring compared to the traditional industry average. Shows AI's potential in really foundational industries.
Okay, so bringing it back to something that affects everyone in the workforce. The sources seem clear that employers are adopting AI largely for productivity gains, right? Both general employee productivity and maybe saving labor on specialized tasks.
That's the main driver highlighted, yes. Productivity improvements. And company leaders are being pretty blunt about it. Duolingo stating they intend to be AI first. Shopify's CEO, Tobias Lütke, sent a memo saying not applying AI is basically slow-motion failure. They see it as absolutely essential now.
Wow. Strong words. And finally, the sources touch briefly on the geopolitical side of things.
They do. The analysis points to the competition, mainly U.S. versus China, for international AI influence. A key point made is that if a country standardizes on one platform, they're likely to stick with it, which underlines the need for, as the source puts it, a smart international strategy for the U.S. There's also mention of ongoing risks to American IP and the critical role of semiconductors, a point echoed by Senators Cornyn and Warner in a quote they included.
Right, presenting the strategic landscape as described in the material.
So, yeah, as we sort of wrap up this deep dive, we've really seen just how huge and how fast these AI-driven changes are, from the incredible infrastructure build-out, the speed and scale, to the AI performance getting so realistic, multimodal. The core tech is just advancing relentlessly. And we looked at how that's turning into actual adoption across so many industries: finance, healthcare, legal, you name it, plus the rise of these AI agents. And then touching on the physical world, impact automation, autonomous systems, even farming and mining, and what it means for the workforce and, you know, the global picture.
Right. And our goal really throughout this was to take all that dense source material, all those data points, and just distill it down for you, give you a clear sense of the key trends, the specific examples, and just the sheer pace it's shaping AI right now.
Yeah. And one thought from the sources that kind of stuck with me is this idea. AI itself is complex, obviously, but its power, maybe, often lies in its simplification, how it's presented through easier tools. But it's also clear, alongside that huge potential to solve big problems, the sources definitely acknowledge the risks too, whether that's misuse or just unintended consequences.
That's a good point, which kind of leaves us with this final provocative thought for you, the listener, to mull over. Given this intensity, this speed of AI development and deployment we've just talked about, What specific area of your own work or even your life do you think might be the very next to see one of these unprecedented shifts driven by AI? What could that actually look like for you? Something to think about.